realize when the Lord said, pray in my name, if you pray in my name, anything you ask for will be answered? This is going to be a clear example. You know that preachers and teachers and stuff like that, they teach that that's just saying Jesus. That's a carnal interpretation. That's learning in the literal sense. However, when he's saying pray in my name, that word name is speaking of praying in the character and function of Jesus. That's why the sons of Sceva could not do anything when they were using the name Jesus. However, the apostles could, because the apostles were in the character and function of Jesus, and the sons of Sceva weren't. So it's not just about saying Jesus. It's about operating out of the character and function of Christ. You seeing this?
Here's what's funny. I actually agree with this gentleman. I agree with this gentleman because when I was a deacon and when I would teach lessons about praying and when I would teach lessons about having the things that you desired manifested or praying for someone to receive a healing or some miracle, I would tell people, and I used to anger some of the older people in the church. I would tell them the reason why your prayers go unanswered is because you are not functioning in the name of Jesus, in the character of Jesus. And that is something that I used to actually teach people when I was a Christian. And I would still say to a certain extent that that is true in that teaching, because the word that's used in there to say pray in the name of Jesus is the Greek word anoma. And that Greek word anoma does mean to be in the character and function of the name to which you're speaking of. So when you say a person is acting like a certain person and you say their name, you're saying they're acting like the character and function of that person's name. And if that was a true thing, if the Bible was true, then this is the reason why almost every Christian's prayers go unanswered. This is the reason why Christians cannot go into hospitals and heal the sick and heal people of cancer or anything of that nature, is because Christians don't even understand the nature and the function of who they are claiming to be Jesus. You see, you can't claim the name of Jesus if you're clubbing on the Saturday night and coming to church on Sunday. You can't claim the name if you're beating your spouse and try to heal someone, if you're giving into drunkenness or gluttony and you then try to heal somebody. It doesn't work that way. And then as I moved out of Christianity, I realized that that speech, that thought process, is not something that is beholding only to Christianity. This was taught in Buddhism as well. You cannot truly ascend to the adept or the master stage unless you gain the Buddha mind. The Buddha mind is not becoming just knowledgeable, but it is becoming the personage of Sir Dr. Gautama. Is becoming like him, having the function and the abilities of function and the characteristics of him. And as I dove deeper and I started studying the Tao, and I realized that Lao Tzu was speaking of the same thing, that you have to become you have to get into the flow of the way. You have to get into the function and the characteristics of the way, which is what he was referring to as the cosmic source energy or God, or however you want to put it. He never really utilized the term God, but you have to get into that flow of energy. And then when I kept going back to find even more original teachings of the same mindset, it became the Hermetic alchemical mindset, that many people want to manifest things in their lives, but they're unable to manifest things in their lives because they can't get into the energetic flow of what it is that they're trying to move along the pole. You see, most people deal with a situation, but they don't understand the pole of what they're dealing with. For instance, it's cold out here today. For me, fall is coming in a little bit. It's rainy, it's cold. In order for me to function and produce this video, I had to get into the energetic flow of the cold and recognize that it is a matter of heat. And me being on the lower vibration of being cold, I'm not going to sit out here and make a video. So I had to clothe myself in a format that gives me heat, that retains my heat, so that I can be focused on what I'm talking about and not focus on the shivering. So I had to understand the pole of what I desire. That's a very simple thing, the simple little thing, but let's move it into something else more that you may be able to connect with. If you have a desire to buy a house, but your vibration as far as money is very low, you are not on a budget, you are spending more than you make, you have collections on your credit, you don't have credit, you have to you have to recognize the pole that you're dealing with of what creates the ability for you to gain a mortgage. And so therefore you have to get into the flow of how currency works and how credit works in order to position yourself to qualify for a mortgage. If you remain outside of that flow, it won't happen. If you just praying, oh God, give me a house. Oh God, give me a house. Oh God, I want to buy a house. Whatever you're doing, lighting candles, I want to buy a house. Burning sage, I want to buy a house. Drawing circles, I want to buy a house. Doing sigils, I want to buy a house. If you're doing all these things to buy a house, well, you haven't gotten into the function and characteristics of a person who would be able to buy a house. So you have to get into the function and characteristics of the vibrational pattern, the frequency that will elevate you along the pole in order to gain whatever it is you are looking to manifest in your life. You're in a relationship with someone. If you are only doing things that are relatable to how you receive love, but you neglect what it takes for that person to receive love so they can respond back to you in like manner of how you receive love, then you're never going to move into the higher realms of a great relationship. I receive love through affection. I receive love through quality time. Those are my two biggest things, affection and quality time. But if you are a person who receives love through gifts and words of affirmation, if all I'm giving you is affection and quality time, you may feel some love, but you're not feeling the fullness of love because I'm not in your vibration to give it to you how you receive it. Now, if I give it to you in your format and then you recognize that, hey, let me give it back to him in his format, then we are both vibrating up that scale in order to facilitate the higher levels of love. So we have to recognize the pole and manifest it, recognize the characteristics, the function of it, in order to manifest whatever it is we desire. This is why I follow Hermeticism, because it strips away all the bullshit of your Jesus and your Buddhas and your Lao Tzus and whomever else deities, Oshuns and all of those that you decide that you want to worship and look for them to bring these things into your life, when the true divinity that's going to bring anything into your life is you and just you. So I hope this is helpful to some of you guys. Tell me what you think about it. Subscribe to the channels, gain a membership, and always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.